Morning, we'll call this morning's meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and we do have an addition.
Mr. Chair, I move approval with the addition.
Second.
Okay, we're gonna motion to approve, the second to approve the agenda with the addition. All in favor?
Aye.
Any citizens to be heard? Anybody on the computer?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I also like to mention, got a donation from Johnson's Auto Repair. They have candy bars that they sell. Any money they make on that, they donate to our K-9 program. We thank you to Johnson Auto Repair for doing that. Approval of payment of bills and vouchers.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Get a motion second to pay the bills and vouchers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes from October 10th.
Move to approve.
Second.
You got a motion second to approve the minutes of October 10th. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay, request to approve of raised rates on tire and demo disposal. Corey?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm here this morning to request raise the rates on 3 items. The first would be tires, passenger tires at the landfill and the RRC. We are currently getting charged anywhere from $4 to $6 per tire to have them picked up and taken away, and we are only charging $4, so we are losing some money on those. I would propose we raise the rate to $6 for all passenger tires, so that we don't have to go through and decide what size each tire is and so forth. The second item is I would like to raise the demo rates for private customers. We are charging $11 a yard now. I would like to raise that to $15 per yard. The demolition landfill charges us $13 a yard, so we're losing $2 on every yard that's brought in. By raising it to $15, that would also cover our transportation costs. So, and the third item would be to raise the commercial demo rate from $16 a ton to $20 or per yard to $20 per yard. We're not supposed to be taking the demo at the landfill, and we've had some issues this summer with people bringing it to our commercial haulers bringing it to us. It's supposed to go to the demo landfill. This would decrease that amount because they can still take it there for the $13 a yard, so it would be cheaper for them there. So those would be my 3 items I would like to request.
Mr. Chair, we've talked about this at our SWAC meeting as well. We've gone over it, and one of the things that we've always wanted everybody to know is that we don't want to be making money doing this thing, but we don't want to be losing money either. You know, this is an enterprise fund, and it's supposed to be self-sustaining, and it's not going to be self-sustaining if we lose money.
Right.
So, so these recommendations are supported by SWAC as well.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I would move the request of the fee increases for the 3 different items.
I'll second the motion and also echo Commissioner Campbell's statements on that. We've evaluated what seems to make the most sense and certainly don't want to overly tax, but need to cover the cost.
Hey, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you, Corey. Mr. Chair, while Corey's here too, I think there was some information that came out in the news regarding some things that Becker County is doing, and part of that is being done in conjunction with the work that Corey's been doing on. We've been working for a number of years trying to eliminate this dead-end hauling, and I think with what Becker County has done now is one step closer in us reaching those goals, and Corey has a big part in what's been going on there, so I thought we should recognize him for those efforts that we're constantly striving to save the public's money and transportation costs. So thank you, Corey.
You bet. That should be a good deal once we get it set up. Should start sometime around the first of the years.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Joe, Need to fill a full-time custodian position.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, board members. We had a resignation last week, and so we are looking to fill this vacant position. It starts on line 1, line 5, step 1, and then this is a custodian position that cleans in the jail and the family service center both, so looking to advertise for that position.
Okay.
I'd move we move to approve to fill the vacant full-time custodian position.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to fill the custodian position. Any further discussion?
More of a question, Mr. Joe, so when we have people that are hired to go into, especially like the correctional facility or the juvenile, where they're secured, do they have some sort of a process that they have to go through?
Yeah, as far as this, how to be in the secured areas, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, we work with Carrie and those guys, so they kind of know the rules and what to do and what not to do, so that's what they do, but,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess I don't know if that's something that, do we do background checks on that, for those types of positions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They
Okay,
actually.
that's what I was.
Custodians get the most, the BCA.
They have the highest requirements as far as
Yes,
our background checks.
yep,
Very good.
along with the maintenance crew too, as well, so, yep.
Okay.
I was asking that for a friend.
Sure, yep.
As long as we're in a roll of hiring, do we vote on that? Sorry.
Not yet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lapse of memory there.
Thank you, board.
Rhonda, you wanna, excuse me, Brian, I was just gonna get Rhonda in there, if you don't mind.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for my added agenda item. We had a resignation last week from one of our eligibility workers. She's been with us for 7 years, and she's moving out of the area. This is, her workload has been in our healthcare program area, which, as you know, is really growing, and we've actually added staff in this area to manage the workload. So I'm requesting approval to replace her position. Her last day will be November 3rd. She is currently budgeted on grade 14, step 7, and we would have those funds in the budget to cover replacement.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion to approve the position.
Second.
That motion is second to approve the position.
Is
Mr.
this one
Chair?
that backfill? Any backfill?
My motion would include a backfill if,
That would be great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, got backfill covered there. Any other discussion? It is covered by federal funds. Half the position's covered by federal funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Now, Brian. First, fill the vacant restorative practices coordinating position.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, we did have a resignation within our restorative justice program. I think the restorative justice program, as you know, we used CARES money for the first year and had a lot of meetings with the school. We're excited about the program. I think it's still moving forward well, but the individual who had been doing it in the schools went to look at other opportunities to do some other things, and we're looking to fill that vacancy and keep the program moving. So we would ask that it be filled.
I'll certainly make a motion to fill it. See if we get a second.
second the motion.
Here we got a motion and a second to fill the restorative practice coordinator position. Any further discussion?
I have a question, if I may.
Go ahead.
So with that is, what's the timing? Or when is this person leaving? And
They are already gone.
Oh.
They already have resigned and moved on, and so we would be looking to advertise immediately. I think in the interim, Michelle Carr, I thought Michelle would be here this morning. I think she's just a little behind, but she's helping to fill a void currently, and obviously we're still taking restorative justice cases and helping to get them processed through, and she's working them where we can, but we definitely want to get a person full-time focus that's in the school as soon as possible.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good about the program.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Request permission to reappoint commissioners at the Clay County voting delegates for Minnesota County's Intergovernmental Trust. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Campbell and Commissioner Eberger have been our MCIT representatives, voting delegates this past year. And with the upcoming AMC conference in December, they'll be hosting their annual meeting. And a part of that, we're looking for, they're looking for the reappointments from each county. And so the recommendation before you this morning would be, talking with the commissioners, they both agreed that they'd like to continue to serve on this committee. And so we would request reappointment.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to reappoint Commissioner Campbell and Commissioner Ebinger as the voting delegates for MCIT.
And I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to reappoint Commissioner Campbell and Evinger.
I should maybe clarify my motion is that Commissioner Campbell would be the delegate and Commissioner Ebinger would be the alternate.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good.
Thank you.
You want to go in closed session now, or should we take committee reports? We're moving along so good here. Okay, we'll do it close. We're going to go into closed session now.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The committee, back in session now. Going to the committee reports. Who's first this week here? Okay, looks like Paul, you get to start out today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, busy week here. So last Tuesday, I had Adult Mental Health Local Advisory Council. The items there, mainly we had 2 open positions for serving. We needed a co-chair and a secretary. And anyway, I ended up being one of the co-chairs, and along with Bree Krause from Solutions, our new secretary. We had our main topic was done by creating community consulting. They talked about a survey regarding collecting data for substance abuse. Again, that will carry into our discussions, and also those data points work over toward Annabelle, our new person, so services and our public health that she's working with. And I think that was the main thing on those. The partners that were there, our 7 groups or whatever, all gave updates. On Wednesday, I had my monthly board meeting with the Clay Historical and Cultural Society, working toward our 2024 budget, planning for the upcoming, which isn't too far away, on November 14th, Pangea over at the UMCOM Center, expecting around 1,000 people for that. Setting up for some of our fundraisers, also working out with matches for Giving Hearts Day. So, the next morning, Commissioner Ebinger and I were part of the Suicide and Substance Prevention Coalition meeting. Very healthy discussion. There was quite a few people on there, I think somewhere in 35 people in that range. Anyway, the main takeaway I was a little more information about First Link, which we've been hearing about, and Annabelle spoke. And if you have something more on that, Commissioner, you can talk more about that. Then that evening, or later in the afternoon, we had our rural cities and county meeting in Holly. Very nice. The room was full. It was good. We had cities representing Holly, Dilworth, Barnesville, Glendon. Talked about their levies, everybody trying to do the best they can to keep it as low as possible, and certainly small cities, when they have a big project going on, it's hard, they take a little hard hit on the levy amounts, but again, they're very conscious of what it is to the taxpayer. They gave reports on projects and growth, and it was nice to hear that our communities are growing along with business in each of the communities. That was my main takeaway from that. Other discussions, we were all in attendance, all 5 commissioners here, so if you have anything to add, go ahead. Then that evening was the CAP-LP board meeting, our monthly board meeting. We had been short on the finance committee and needing some more representation on that. And myself and one other board member became part of that committee. We made a change to the number of people on the CAP-LP board. Can be up to 18, but with Wilkin County, the Head Start program over the years has gone away. Other things, their membership, the number of people in the county has declined by about 600 over the last decade, and it was hard getting representation from Wilkin to be a part of the board, as well as coming to the board meetings so that we had a quorum. So we made a change to the bylaws that the number can be as high as 18. We know that, but that membership for the board would become 15. So that was moved and approved. And I think that was the main, otherwise it was mainly about grants that we talked about, and they do a phenomenal job in everything they do as far as continuing of keeping programs growing and financing that comes along with it. The next day, we were, again, the whole commission board here, we all went to Fergus Falls for the Association of Minnesota Counties, our District 4 meeting. Lively discussion, updates from the 11 counties that are part of this district in west central Minnesota. Looking toward tried to bring 5 top priorities for state legislature that the association can kind of move forward and get maybe some policy or funding changes toward certain areas, and had to do with SCORE, which is has to do with our solid waste tax, getting increased to the money we get back off that tax, in mental health, dealing with high acuity, and youth continuum care, which we've talked about at our meetings more recently. Also the emergency response 911, getting that up and running the highest level it can be, and then certainly a priority being in bonding, and the fact that it's a bonding year. So again, this works for the state, and then I think locally, for this board, we'll try to develop some of our own priorities ourselves here that will serve Clay County a little more specific, excuse me. So I'll leave that. Others may have comments about that meeting. Yesterday, I attended, it was an invite from Representative Keeler to be part of a housing community conversation. She had brought the 2 out of the House of Representatives, the 2 housing committee, the chair and the vice chair. Excuse me. And we had this over at Habitat for Humanity. It was nice to have them host it. We got some more background on Habitat for Humanity and Restore, the great work that incredible amount of work that they do in Fargo-Moorhead area, and the fact that 75% of the people that shop there are people in need. And the fact that they can take and repurpose all this furniture and disseminate it out into homes and different places of need, It's incredible. And they've locked up with a lot of big corporations in Fargo-Moorhead area. Local people that were there that gave good input to help with the needs in housing and homelessness. We had Dara Lee from HRA there, Emma Smith from Lakes and Prairie, talking on the oversight their homeless programs. A representative, I apologize, I forgot her name, but for Churches United, was a woman that worked there for about the last year and a half, and two other and people from Lotus, and then the director of the FM Coalition for Housing and Services. So with that was my report.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just follow up quick, I did, when Representative Keeler was here, she made mention of the meeting that Commissioner Krebenoff talked about. We did work, Jackie and I did work with representatives from our office in hopes of trying to make that a public meeting, but unfortunately, we weren't given the information fast enough to allow that to be presented. But I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that.
Hey,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last Tuesday, I attended the Personnel Issues Committee meeting. We've covered the items of that meeting with the actions today. In the afternoon, I attended a road tour of County Road 26. Representative Keeler, Transportation House Chair, Representative Frank Hornstein, Senate Transportation Chair Senator Scott Dibble, and Senator Rob Kupek also attended. Huge gratitude to the folks that made that happen, particularly our county engineer, Justin Sorum. The purpose of that meeting was to present a history of the road on County Road 26, which, as you know, is a large project that we're in the process of repairing. That's quite a commodity route that particularly was stressed during the Amazon build on the North Dakota side. Talked a little bit about the studies in which we've conducted on that road, gravel tax revenues in Clay County, so that they have an understanding of what those revenues generate. And then obviously toured the road, which, as you all know, is a long, long stretch of road in Clay County, and any opportunity to present a potential for bonding proposal to help repair that would be really appreciated from Clay County, but particularly the residents and the businesses in which use that route. That evening, I attended a planning commission meeting here. We had 4 public hearings. One was an update to the county land development code update. That discussion, we will have a meeting that was rescheduled yesterday that will be forthcoming. A second proposal was to have a conditional use permit for a retreat center in Glendon Township. That was approved. We approved a temporary campground permit in Hagen Township for seasonal construction workers that are working in rural Clay County. That passed, and then did discuss a permit expansion violation with a applicant. I think we have a fairly good road forward to mitigate that. There seems to be some clarification with the workers on what exactly is allowed and what's not allowed. They're working with the planning department to correct that. On the 19th, I participated in the property tax forfeiture work group for the Association of Minnesota Counties. As you're well aware, we're working through the dialogue and what that decision from the courts will have an impact for counties statewide, working through verbiage on a potential policy platform, and I believe we discussed that at the AMC district meetings. We'll get more in depth into that in December, as we'll need to have substantial discussion with our representatives and senators on that. That evening or afternoon, I also attended the small cities meeting in Holly. Excuse me. Really good updates from all of the communities on happenings within their jurisdictions. It's really helpful for me and for all of us and county staff as we work through issues during the year, to hear from them what exactly they're experiencing. Was interesting to note that countywide there were 185 residential sales last year. The value on those is about 90.1% of market, so we will be seeing a bit of an increase
in terms of what the assessor's office will need to have that at. That equates to about a 28% drop in active sales in rural Clay County and a 36% drop in Moorhead. I found that a little fascinating, but certainly fits within the conversation points that we've heard from community or statewide on what the trends are. We had an update from Jason McCoy on positive community norms, and that was one that spurred discussion from rural city representatives just on what the cannabis legislation will have impacts to their communities. And that evening, I also attended the Lakes and Prairies Community Action Meeting. We did discuss all of the items that Commissioner Krabanoff updated. We had a really great spotlight on the Economic Empowerment Division that Robin Christensen spearheads. So glad that we were able to do that. And then, yes, it's difficult when you can't get a quorum, so there needed to be an adjustment there. Friday, I also attended the AMC Fall District meeting with all of you. Very good updates from MCIT on cybersecurity and the consequences that come from not having strong cybersecurity provisions. So I'm appreciative of the staff that we have at the county that provide those updates to us to keep us in the know. Yesterday, I attended the Lakeland Mental Health Center board committee meeting. We had a personnel meeting early to discuss the executive director report. The organization continues to be in good hands with CEO Donna Baker. We had financial reports and reports from the Fergus Falls supervisors. The Perham School District is doing a lot in regards to restorative justice and children's therapeutic support services, but it's exciting that Clay County is also doing those great initiatives as representative or as alluded to by the staff position that we filled earlier. They are currently in a process of hiring for a grant that will allow them to be situated with Sanford Response and on emergency services calls that include a mental health crisis or a substance use crisis. They will dispatch someone. This is in addition to the mobile mental health services piece. It seems to fit the gap that we've heard on those calls in regards to crisis and mental health services. So hopeful that they are able to see some success with that. That may be something that they would like to emulate in other areas. So I do appreciate that. And then we talked a lot about compassion fatigue and how the openings in positions in the staffing program really do contribute to the bottom line. We're currently seeing a large losses in psychiatric services financially for the organization annually. And that's due in part to a lot of things, but as you recall, 5-6 years ago, a psychiatric position, we were guaranteed $100,000 loss annually. They were able to make up for that in other areas, but it's just something that the organization is looking at to see if there's areas that they can shore up those losses. And I believe that concludes my reports.
Okay. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On Thursday, the 19th, we had our West Central Regional Juvenile Center quarterly meeting, and the items discussed there, we first reviewed our statistics, and as you know, we all pay based on a 2-year look back, and the current trending for this next 2-year look back, Clay County prior to this was at a 30%, and the current trend would show us for 2024 being at 27.5%. So, but most of the counties stay fairly consistent now, it seems. So there's shouldn't be any huge financial implications to any member county, and I think that's part of what that 2-year look back helps do is kind of keep everybody somewhat stable in that regard. We did have a discussion on chemical dependency and the switch that we did in that area to a different provider. And James gave a lot of credit to Rhonda in helping make us have the ability to find somebody to make that change. We got an update on the gym, the ceiling that we approved here last week. And then James also gave an update on the legislation regarding the restrictive procedures. You know, we were somewhat concerned about the disciplinary time. James gave a report on that, and he's confident that the new rules that are coming out will allow them to function the way they feel necessary to function within that facility. So that's all, and that's good, and I think it was James who really brought that up in terms of, brought it to our attention about that legislation and what it could have been in terms of the safety for our staff and for the residents that we have in there. So that was another example of our supervisors taking an important lead and making things turn out well. I also attended the Rural Cities and County meeting. It's been discussed quite a bit. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I was pleased in terms of the 911 conversations that we had. I was pleased to I mean, there was certainly a lot of questions and dialogue about what's going on there, and I think there's concerns about the costs involved, and I think there was strong support amongst all of the communities in regards to our efforts to research the 911 funding that's happening. It goes through the state of Minnesota and what comes back. And I think that they're all going to be more than willing to sign on to anything that we move forward with to try to improve that funding that comes from those 911 fees. Then on Friday, we had the District 4 meeting, a lot of discussion. The reports have already been done on that. One of the, we were all asked to, each county was asked to give reports in different areas. And one of the things I found quite interesting, other than the wide variety in levies being set, was the discussion about homelessness. And what seemed to be the case is the larger the metropolitan area that's within each county, the more likelihood there was going to be to have a higher homeless problem. There was a couple of our small counties within our 11-member counties that said they didn't have a homeless problem. So it kind of shows that I think once you get into a larger metropolitan area, the likelihood of those things happening are increased. I don't have the answer to that, but it's obvious that it's happening. And let's see, I was also very interested in MCIT's presentation and concerns, and one of the real future threats is the cybersecurity. We hear about it all the time. We're annoyed with it a lot of times when we're asked to take those online quizzes to see how smart we are when it comes to cybersecurity. I've failed a couple of them, I'll be honest with you, but I had to take it again once or twice. But anyway, it's good, and one of the things they talked about is the most important thing is who you have leading your IT department. And once again, we got a good one, so a lot of that really helps. So, Mr. Chair, I think I'll end with that. There's a lot more that was discussed, but.
Thank you, Kevin. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, it's great to be the last guy. All my meetings have been covered, but a couple of things I'll touch on.
Move to adjourn. Oh.
On Thursday, the 19th, along with Commissioner Krabanoff remotely, we attended the Suicide and Substance Coalition meeting. One of the observations I made, Annabelle Default, the young woman that was introduced to us She's in public health now, and the opioid position that we hired has hit the ground running. She's got her, Clay County Public Health is now an access point for naloxone. She's setting up training at M-State, and M-State is providing enough funding to get naloxone to each student if the student completes the training, which would have an awful lot of young and not so young men and women out in our community who would be able to respond in the event of an overdose. There's right now tentative discussions with our correctional facility to reestablish a peer support group that they had in there, and that all people, tentatively, all individuals leaving the facility would have an opportunity to get naloxone as they leave. And also they're looking at naltrexone, which is, for those that remember Antabuse, which had its problems back in the day where it was given to people suffering from alcohol addiction. This is, instead of making you sick if you use drugs or alcohol, it simply reduces the craving for alcohol or drugs, eases the withdrawals, and it's a once-a-month shot. And that's tentatively being looked at possibly for something as people leave the Clay County Correctional Facility that would be made available to them. She's working on those things. I think she's really started off going right to the issues and working on that. So I was happy to see that. Later that day, I attended the West Central Regional Juvenile Center meeting, and Commissioner Campbell covered that very well. It was a very positive meeting. I think we have an organization that's well-run and well-funded, and we are quite proud of it in a state where the need is exceptionally high. We kind of stand out. Later that day, I also attended the Clay County Rural Cities Fall Meeting in Holly, and that's been covered by everybody. And I will give kudos to Jason McCoy. He had given a briefing to a couple of us on the new cannabis laws, or what there is of cannabis laws. A lot of it is still pending an establishment of some sort of administration of this. But we briefed the county leaders on it. It's going to require their direction to us as to what the county's responsibility will be within the communities in Clay County. And that has got to basically start with municipal governments telling us what their ground rules are going to be. And I think we conveyed, Jason came and gave a presentation and conveyed some good information to them that'll help them make those decisions. And then on Friday, I attended the AMC Fall District 4 meeting at Fergus Falls, and that's been covered well. It is gratifying to see on the tentative levies that everybody presented that we are very much on the low end of what's being, my jotted down numbers here is there were 2 counties that were lower than us, many that were higher. So I think that is an indication that we're doing our job trying to keep a lid on property taxes. That completes my report.
Tuesday, I attended the Heart of Clay reception at the Marriott, and I guess I don't know whether I should say I was disappointed, but it's a organization that does a lot for our county, and I don't know if we as county employees and stuff like that, I hope we support that. I brought some donation cards along. They're laying over there on the first desk there if you're interested in it. I mean, they indicated that everybody's pretty much going through their program. There's none of them that have come back into the jail again. So it's really a good organization, you know, doing a lot of work for the county. I mean, that we're not paying for, you know, so whatever you can do to support them, I really appreciate that. And also, read it again, if you haven't filled out the United Way form yet, I don't know if you still got time or not to get it in or not, but That's on your emails there where you can fill out that form. Other than that, the PIC committee, which has been covered, I went to that on Tuesday, rural cities. I do want to thank all there was 12 of our county people that were out there, and I really want to appreciate showing up. And then we had Cecilia from University of Minnesota there, who gave her report, and Kevin's from SWCD. I was glad to see those guys out there attending that meeting. It was, and as Dave said, Jason McCoy gave a good report on the cannabis. And that was at District 4 Friday, and I guess I was impressed how low our county levy is compared to the others. I mean, like Dave said, there was 2 that were lower, but we said at 389, the other 2 were 388 and 387. So I don't know if you can say they were lower. They're pretty much the same as we are, I guess, and the others were all higher. And I think people in Clay County should be, not happy that we're going to raise the taxes a little bit, but it is a well-run county. Okay, that was. Go ahead.
Just on that, there's a great article in the Extra that our county administrator, Steve Larson, gave on the amount of construction and all the things that we're doing here that don't involve any property taxes. It's not coming out of the levy. It's other ways have been found to fund these things. And Steve, as usual, when we're looking at what other counties can accomplish and what their levies are, Steve, as usual, gave us a lot of credit for it, and I guess we ought to take it, but a huge amount of it is what the administration led by him and the employees in this county do, and the ability to identify needs and respond to it. And that's one of the things coming away and having listened to each county's report. We have great things being done in our district, but I think we're a leader in that. And that is something we can be proud of. And if he's going to give all of us credit, that's unfair. The administration and employees here contribute to that massively, and we're just kind of helping, row the ship. So I give a moment's plug on that when we look at property taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for those comments. We have a great group of staff and great leadership, so thank you. PIC, has been addressed. We did talk about a little bit about earned safe and sick time. Again, that's a legislation that came through that provides 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours of work for our variable hours. And so Darren's going to be working on bringing something before the board. That implementation starts at the first of the year, and so that will be coming before you in greater detail for decisions. On the 17th, also talked with Mr. Melton on the RFQ for the housing legislation aid that is going to be coming forward before this board, and also the MOU that's been brought forward by the Red River Water District. I had some more discussion on that. On the 18th, I met with Rhonda Porter on a series of issues at social services. On the 19th, participated in the MCC JPA prep meeting. We were scheduled to have a meeting this week. We had an update on acquisition status, negotiation updates, adjustments in the 2024 farm lease, rent increases potentially, and then contracting actions. On the 19th, participated in the county rural cities meeting. Again, I thank the city of Hawley for hosting. It's nice when we have the opportunity to get out into the community, our communities, and so we're looking for a volunteer for next spring. So if any of our cities would like to do that, we'd be happy to go. Participated in the AMC district meeting that's been well covered on Friday. Yesterday, I met with the Executive Director of Rape and Abuse, Chris Johnson. Talked a little bit about their organization, their vision, and some of the challenges that they're facing coming out of post-COVID. I think that, again, just an important thing from a response standpoint. The Rape and Abuse is our only agency in North Dakota and Minnesota that respond directly to the hospitals. There's other programs that provide services after the fact. They take on an important role in people's worst times. Did stop by the DMV yesterday. I'm trying to better understand the impact of when the demolition of Herberger's and the Thai Orchid happened. We are, as you are aware, extremely close to those different areas. There has been an idea floated by members of ROARS of moving our location in the Morehead Center Mall at some point. No, our position has been we can't be closed and it can't cost the county any money. Just so the board is aware, if you were to hear that idea has been floated, but there's been no actual proposal. So, and they're having close conversations with both Chelsea and Lori and Joe in those situations. I met yesterday afternoon with Joe Olson in regards to the safety committee is updating its policies, and also we're making sure that those updates we don't have any issues with our upcoming risk management policies or even county policies. So that will again be coming to the board soon. Just a reminder for all of our staff and for the commissioners that open enrollment has started. This year we are required to meet, do a video meeting with representative. So just encourage our staff to not, we don't want to have those 250 people on that last day because we just won't get it done now having to have this video. We won't have to do that next year, but this year we do have to do that. And then just a reminder that we don't have board meeting next week, and that concludes my report.
I'm just going to comment, the meeting this afternoon at 12 o'clock at the Yonko Center, Minnesota State Tax Committee, is that open evidently?
It is posted. There was a registration that we were supposed to provide, but I would assume that we would probably be able to get in there if we hadn't registered.
Okay, Brian? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I want to just comment on, Steve had mentioned the MOU on the West Central Regional Water, and I had an opportunity to talk with Steve last week. There was a draft that came out on that MOU document that I had been asking about. And interestingly enough, there was language that wanted to be in there regarding reimbursement to Pope County for some of the infrastructure that they had previously paid for. And it's my position, and I think on the part of all the commissioners, the purpose of that MOU was to discuss and come up with the financial plan for establishing the district. And that was the total estimated dollar amount was $300,000. Norman County, I think, has already prepaid a portion of that, so that was to be included in their percentage. And if you recall, our number, I think our total number for our share of that $300,000 is like $117,000. And to date, we've set aside $100,000 through a certain ARPA funds. But anyway, the issue there is Polk County wanting to include in that MOU how they would be reimbursed for their $500 and some thousand for infrastructure that they've done. That was not the purpose of this MOU. And I told Steve that, and I know they changed the language to maybe, I just don't think there should be anything in that document at all that talks about that. Because ultimately, I don't want there to be the perception that we as Clay County would be agreeing to 38% or whatever percentage ours is of that $517,000. That I don't even want there to be the perception of that happening, because that isn't to say that down the road we're not, as the three-member counties, we're going to probably have to have that discussion about what dollars have gone in, and if there is to be a reimbursement, how it should be done. I don't want Clay County to be paying 38% of construction that benefit Polk County when we got nothing down here, and then we're going to have to pay 100% of our costs coming in here. So there has to be an awful lot of talk there. But anyway, I just wanted this board to know I think, I don't know to where it's been since you and I talked, but I know Commissioner Gross and I are going to be going on next Monday to that meeting again, and I think that's the message that I want to bring on behalf of our county board. That's our position on the MOU. The MOU was supposed to be strictly for establishing the district and the work and there's two components of that cost. There's the legal part and the engineering part. And the estimated total between those two was that $300,000. And I don't want any language in there that would perceive that we would be paying a percentage of something that happened in another county prior to this. So I just,
Thank you for that, yeah.
Mr. Chair, we have each of the different variations of that MOU. We've run through Mr. Melton and his office for interpretation, and they support Commissioner Campbell's position.
Okay. Anything else, Darren? You okay? Very good. We're adjourned.